There is an art to starting over, but first, one must master the difficult lesson of letting go. This isn't a story about happy endings, but about the beauty that can be found after the story we knew comes to an end. It is a reminder that our deepest scars can, one day, become our most valuable part to the world and even to herself. Amelia lived in a Brooklyn postcard. Her apartment was impeccably tidy, a time capsule of a life that no longer existed. The picture frames on the shelf still showed the smile of a happy marriage. The books he liked, the coffee mug he used, everything was in its proper place, as if he could return at any moment. But the silence in the house told a different story. Every afternoon, Amelia would surrender to a painful ritual. Sitting on the floor, with a wooden box on her lap, she would study old letters and photographs. She wasn't searching for nostalgia. She was searching for answers, for a why. For the exact moment where everything went wrong, where she had failed as a wife. The pain was not just longing, it was the shame of a failure she could not accept, and each revisited memory was like touching a wound, just to make sure it was still there, open and deep. The quietness of the apartment was broken by the visit of her sister, Clara. She looked around at the silent sanctuary Amelia had built for a life that was gone, and her heart ached. With the frankness that only love allows, she said the words Amelia needed, but didn't want to hear.
Amelia, you can't keep living in a museum. He's moved on. You need to, at the very least, get rid of these things. Start with something small.
Clara's gaze then landed on the wooden box on the coffee table, the epicenter of her sister's pain.
Honestly, you should burn that. Make a bonfire and turn it all to ash. It would be an ending. A real new beginning.
To burn. The word sounded like violence to Amelia. To burn the proof that she was once happy, that she had once been loved. It was like erasing herself, but still, her sister's words moved her, not toward the fire, but toward a decision, a reluctant first step. That night, she took a box and began to pack away his objects that still haunted the house. An old watch, a few books, things that needed a new home. And so she found online a place that seemed appropriate, a small antique shop in the East Village, a place for things that had once had a life and were waiting for another. Carrying the box like an anchor to her past, Amelia entered Tanaka's antiquary. The place was a sanctuary of silence amidst the chaos of New York. It smelled of wood and old paper, and each object seemed to whisper a story. Behind the counter, a white-haired Japanese gentleman with a serene smile, Mr. Tanaka, was polishing a small piece of silver, unhurried, as if time there obeyed a different rhythm. Nervous and clumsy, Amelia tried to set the box on the floor, but her movement was abrupt. A simple white ceramic vase, which was on a small table, trembled and fell. The sound of it breaking echoed through the shop's silence like a sharp scream. Panic took hold of Amelia. It was the materialization of her feelings. She broke everything. She had failed again.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I insist on paying,
she said, her voice trembling, as she knelt to gather the shards of her own failure. But Mr. Tanaka did not move with alarm. He approached with the same calm with which he polished his silver, looked at the shards on the floor, and then at Amelia's anguished face. With a soft voice that seemed as ancient as the objects in the shop, he said words she did not expect to hear. "It's all right, please. Don't worry. Sometimes things must break to become even more beautiful."
It's all right, please, don't worry. Sometimes things must break to become even more beautiful.
Without understanding, Amelia watched him gesture for her to follow him to the back of the shop, a more private and silent space. There, on a dark wooden shelf, illuminated by a warm light, was a collection of ceramic pieces, bowls, vases, plates, all of them with thin veins of pure gold shining where there were once cracks. They were undeniably the most beautiful pieces in the shop. He picked up a bowl with care and placed it in Amelia's hands. It was light, but it seemed to carry a great weight of history.
In Japan, we have an art called Kintsugi. When something valuable breaks, we do not throw it away. We honor it. We join its shards with a special lacquer, mixed with gold dust. The idea is not to hide the break, but to celebrate it, to highlight it. The scars become the most beautiful and unique part of the piece's history. They prove that it survived.
He gently took the bowl back, looked into Amelia's eyes, and said the sentence that would plant a new seed in her soul.
You are not broken. You are just ready for the gold.
Amelia looked at the golden lines and, for the first time, she saw her own cracks. The divorce, the pain, the sense of failure, not as the shameful end of her story, but as the place where the light could finally begin to enter. Amelia left Miss Tanaka's shop, but not in the same way she had entered. The New York air was still the same. The sirens still sounded in the distance, but the storm inside her had calmed. A serene clarity took the place of anguish. Upon arriving home, the apartment no longer seemed like a museum of a lost life, but a space waiting to be filled again, to breathe. With a care that bordered on reverence, she took the wooden box with the letters and photos. She didn't open it. She no longer needed to. She just held it for a moment, acknowledging its weight and its journey. She would not throw it away, not burn it. Those now seemed like acts of denial, not of healing. The past was not an enemy to be destroyed, she understood. It was just a chapter in her story. So instead of hiding the box under the bed, where the pain used to live, she placed it on the highest shelf of her closet, not as a shameful secret, but as a completed volume in the library of her life, a chapter that had led her exactly here to this moment. Freed from the duty of rereading what was already written, she felt an impulse she hadn't felt in a long time, the impulse to create. And so that very same night, she opened her laptop and signed up for a pottery class in a small studio in Brooklyn. She didn't know exactly what she would build, but for the first time in months, she understood that her hands were no longer tied to the past. They were finally free to shape the future. And so 3 weeks later, there is Amelia in a simple pottery studio in Brooklyn, her hands covered in clay, focused on a formless piece spinning on a potter's wheel. On her face, there is no longer the shadow of anguish, but the serene smile of someone who is focused on the now. She is not fixing something broken. She is creating something entirely new. If this story moved you, please leave a comment below telling us what are you building in your present. Like and share this video so that this message can find those who need it. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories to train your English. Until next time, stay creative, be kind to yourself, and continue to find the gold in your scars.